Welcome to OOO, an out of ordinary podcast where we dig deep into case studies and the nitty gritty of Web3 marketing. You'll find here all the amazing people that are building Web3, so stick to us as we address their marketing secrets and learn how to build amazing products and brands. Hello everyone, I'm Alex, your fellow Web3 marketer and the host of Out of Ordinary podcast. This is episode 66. If you don't know already, I've launched a community for all you Web3 marketers. The reason for that is that I know resources are scarce and I think together we can push the pedal. As it's a token-gated community and I'm working on bringing you exclusive content, this will be paid, but if you sign up now, you will get it for free until the end of March. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. Tomer Sharoni is the CEO and co-founder of Addressable, the Web3 growth marketing platform. A Harvard alumni and a graduate of the Talpiot Excellence Program, Tomer has more than 20 years of experience in data analytics, marketing, and managing large organizations. Before launching Addressable, Tomer was the VP of Product at Salt, and prior to that, he led product and operation groups at the Israeli Prime Minister Office, where his team was rewarded with a distinguished Israeli Defense Prize. Tomer holds a BSc in Physics, Math, and Computer Science from the Hebrew University and an MPA from Harvard. Hi, Tomer. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure. And I remember that when the first time I saw you on a stage, I was like, I need to speak to this guy, but it was so hard because everybody at conferences, especially when it comes to speakers, everybody's trying to speak to them. And I'm finally happy that I'm having a one-on-one here. So welcome to the Out of Ordinary podcast. And for those who don't know you that well, can you maybe give us a quick intro? Who are you and how did you get into Web3?
First of all, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and wonderful to talk to you one-on-one. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'll tell you a bit about myself and our listeners. So my name is Tomer. I'm from Israel. I'm a father of 4 girls. My partners and I have a company called Addressable. We are 3 co-founders in a company that does Web3 marketing. My background is actually in big data in the worlds of cybersecurity. So I've been a developer for many years. Then I moved from development to managing projects and then managing product. I did this for a long time for the public sector in Israel. Then I moved to a startup to be the VP of product in cybersecurity. And then my co-founders and I, who are friends from a long time, we decided we go into crypto 3 years ago, and the entire story of this company started just 3 years back. Out of work and being a father, I love playing the piano, so I have a jazz band. We play once a week, and we have a jam session in a bar every month or two. I love keeping this hobby as I'm managing the company and having a lot of time at home with family. It is a single time per week I do my thing and my hobby with good friends, and I keep this very strictly to be able to keep this in this very busy life.
Yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur is a bit complicated. It can affect your well-being, let's say, or your state of mind. And I can feel it right now as well in my case, and how important is to have this kind of hobbies. You were mentioning about Addressable. Can you maybe tell us a bit of how it started, what inspired you to start it, and what gap in the market you found when you built it?
Yeah, so as data geeks, we love working with data. In the cybersecurity world, you use a lot of data. You actually model the entire world, create huge data sets of anonymous signals to really find the fraudsters, the attackers, the various bad actors of the internet for defending infrastructure, for defending companies. And in the world of crypto, we actually had a lot of interest to go in because we were just trading. So as a hobby, as something you do afternoon or at night, we loved trading. We joined this play quite a few years ago. I was actually building a mining rig 7 years ago with 20 NVIDIA GPUs, doing a lot of mining from different networks back then. And the entire play of crypto was very, very new back then. And we always, not only me, but also my partners, we always wanted to have this as something we explore and be part of in major part of our lives. So it was very fun as a hobby, but we wanted to work in this field, and we also felt that crypto as a field is going to really revolutionize the way we treat money, the way we pay, the way we use the internet, and once we had the chance, or the timing was right, each and every one of us, we worked in different companies, we worked in different, we had different things in our lives, and we had this opportunity to really get out of whatever we did and actually explore crypto. And we started from a market research. So we had this opportunity to get out, to say, okay, we start a company. Crypto is so exciting, but it's very hard to understand. Where's the biggest need for being a VC-backed company? You need something that will be a big enough problem, and you need it to be, ever growing, so growing forever. So we needed something in this market that will say, okay, this is a big enough market for a VC-backed company, growing forever, and that we have some founder market fit that will be super clear, and some unfair advantage, because when you start a company, usually you want some things that you can do as the best team in the world, and nobody else can copy. And I think what we found out through our market research was 2022, about half a year, we really went from one company to the other. We interviewed 100 companies, and the biggest users of crypto in the market, the biggest companies that have crypto payments. We wanted to ask, what's your biggest pain? What's the thing that keeps you up at night? What really is the major thing that if we solve, you'll be super happy? And we found out a few things, but one major need was to really understand my users, because the anonymity in crypto is pro user. You're paying for something. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows how to communicate with you. Nobody knows anything about you. But from a business perspective, it's terrible. You're a business. You want to communicate with your customers. You want to re-engage with them after they purchase something. You want to be able to capture the attention of new customers. And nobody could do that. Anything in the crypto marketing space was about feeling, about hype. Just, let's send messages to the void, get some attention from random people. Let's hope they like what we do. And let's, to retarget or to re-communicate with people in our own business, we had to collect their emails, which is, of course, something people don't like to do in this space, to put their email in. So the entire business space was craving for something to really help them do whatever they did in their previous companies in Web2, which is be data-driven, talk to customers, get them back, talk to new customers, but the most relevant ones. And in the crypto space, this was missing badly for all verticals, for exchanges, wallets, layer ones, layer twos, games, payment solutions, you name it. Everybody needed such a thing. And in Addressable, after we didn't call it Addressable at the beginning. We just didn't know what we'll do. But after a market research of 6 months, we said, okay, your customers are just not addressable in crypto. They're ghosts. And we have to make them addressable in some way. And then we built the company. We started the company with this market research.
Were you working mostly with companies already in Web3, or also the ones from Web2 looking to transition?
So the more native or the biggest need is, of course, for companies already in Web3. They have a lot of wallets coming in. They don't know who are the users. They don't they don't really want to know who are the users. They just want to communicate with them, send messages, get some feedback. A lot of things that are human communication. These are not wallets. These are people. And you don't have to really know their name or their email. You just want to communicate in some way as a business to be able to capture feedback, attention, to get, to market new things. And all of those activities that are super clear in the Web2 marketing space were super, super painful for Web3 companies. And the native ones are of course, were the first customers, like DeFi protocols and blockchains. We started with Polygon and Bancor and Immutable. These were the first three customers. And when we grew, we started to gain more attention and also to be experts in Web3 marketing, in Web3 attribution, in Web3 communication with the customers. Then more companies that wanted to move into Web3 came to us. So Web2 brands that really want to capture the attention of Web3 audiences, they want payments from people who have crypto, and they want this market segment just like they want people with MasterCard, So they want people with crypto to pay for their goods. So all of that is of course, we call it the Web2 market. They just want new market segments to be their customers, and they need to be able to communicate, to market, to measure, to do everything online. And we see this trend growing with companies like Stripe and PayPal and Venmo adding crypto payments built into the system. So any merchant can do that. Any merchant can sell something in crypto. We have a company that sells vacations, like Booking.com. So they sell vacations to people with crypto. And this is growing. So the more money spent on crypto in the world, the more liquidity exists in the crypto markets, the more merchants and markets will also identify this segment of payers as significant enough to market to talk to capture their attention. And these are, of course, not the early adopters of our technology, but they are already starting to sell through us.
Do you feel like there's still an issue or like there are challenges of companies from Web2 looking to expand to Web3, or like to convince them that like it might be useful for the business to use Web3 technology?
So there's a lot of hype around Web3 that the major brands tried to capture 3 or 4 years ago. How to create an NFT community for your airline. Do you remember that? How to create, the coffee, the Starbucks thing. How to create, a free coffee after nine coffees. So the 10th is free using a crypto technology instead of a piece of paper with some chips. So I think that the hype around crypto technology, what can we do with it, was a discovery hype. But what we see today is the product market fit that exists today for crypto that are very strong and very solid is investments. People invest in different types of tokens, in different types of tokenized assets, derivatives and others. And outside of investments, it's payments, so stablecoin payments. And people pay with stablecoins in some countries in a large portion of the economy. And the more payments are easy, the more money exists inside the crypto market, the more we'll see businesses accept crypto as a payment method. And this product market fit is much stronger than anything else. All the hype around NFT communities and some collectibles and a lot of brands trying to sell collectibles and NFT and stuff like that. We definitely saw it coming and going in different shapes and forms, but the payments are here to stay, and the cross-border payments and the easy payments through Telegram, through PayPal, it's now as easy as it has ever been. And And I think that the Web2 adoption of crypto will be, first of all, for payments, for just capturing more markets, more users through the new means of payments.
I was not actually planning to ask you this, but I wanted to ask you right now, out of curiosity, do you think the fact that the UAE is gonna push a lot this crypto payments is gonna create some sort of trend worldwide, and people are gonna think that, oh, if they do it, maybe we can like try to step up and see what we can do better, or like how we can get to them?
So the more countries are addressing the crypto issues, the regulation that will be pro crypto, the more countries can copy and say, okay, we see the leaders in this space created a law, a specific law, and the US is now creating an act and a law for crypto, of course. A law that regulates when it is, when you sell something, is it a tax event, not a tax event? Is this dollar, stable coin, which is not exactly a dollar? It's like a few hundreds of a cent up or down. Is this an unregulated security, or is it just a coin? And when the law regulates everything, and we saw it in Europe in MiCA, what should any institution do with crypto? How should they report? How should they count it? How should they? What is a tax event? And what we see in UAE, of course, is a great example. No matter what the regulation is, it's a good situation. It's a situation where the unclarity is going away and the clarity comes in, and a lot of businesses can join in a clear regulatory environment in the UAE, even if it demands some things that are more, severe or hard to maintain than in a non-regulated environment. And there are requirements in the UAE that are not as easy to maintain as before. It is still much better. The clarity enables traditional institutions and banks and different types of and merchants and payers and processors to be in crypto, because they know what should they do, and they don't work in vague. And also advertisers, now to advertise in UAE, you need to be compliant with some of those regulations, and it's fine. It's better to be in the clear, to have the exact requirements, instead of guessing and praying for it to be okay. It's not a way to create a vibrant ecosystem of businesses around this topic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm used to Europeans, like we like rules, but we don't like rules at the same time. So sometimes it's complicated. But I think like a bit of structure in Web3 wouldn't be too bad. Something else I wanted to ask you, because I know you guys are very big, or like you guys have adopted AI like quite a lot recently. And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you leverage AI in growth marketing, and do you have any specific use cases that you found most impactful?
Yeah, so AI, as you can see in all SaaS products in the world, AI is everywhere, because people can add AI to the most simplest things they do, like how to name that file that you download on your browser. Did you know there is a browser that uses AI just to name those downloads for you? This is such a commodity, like calling the AI with some context and getting results. And we all use it, of course, for many, many things personally. Then in our product, we put AI in all the layers. So we have the data layer. We need to label wallets. We need to label contracts. We need to label Twitter activity. We need to label Twitter topics. We need to summarize a lot of things. So summarize wallet activity. What has this wallet done over the past 5 years, right? If you see the raw events, you don't know. If you summarize that, you can actually say, oh, yeah, this wallet has mostly traded in DeFi and actually played a few games here and there, but they mostly pay with stable coins on USDT in Argentina. Okay, that's a summary of thousands of actions just with AI, right? And we do that in the backend level of all the user database that we have. We do this in the front end level, where we let the user talk to our product, asking, what insights do you see? So in marketing, you advertise something, you see a graph. The graph says, oh, the cost per action grew over the past 5 days, and then it started to shrink. And this has happened in several countries in different ways. So you really want to know, okay, what's in it for me? What do I make of it? What to do next? So your question to the product should be, okay, what should I do next? And you want those insights. And these are quite simple use cases of AI, because you want to know, should you put more money in the UK campaign or not? Should you put more money in the Turkey campaign or not? Should you put more money in mobile? Should you reduce it? And now we talk to the product, and that next thing will be a button saying, okay, do it. Like, okay, it's the agent level where you say, okay, I want to know what you're going to do, and it's just approve. And then you can let the system do it. Put more money here, less money there. Change this creative, change this message to whatever narrative this audience is talking about these days. So all of this level of agentic action is also is something we're building into the product, because it's very convenient. It's very convenient to actually be able to talk to a product instead of clicking on all those graphs. It's very convenient to be able to say, okay, whatever you recommended, yeah, I read it, I approve. That's it. Now do it. And that's the future, I think, of all products. You see it quite a bit in other products already, SaaS platforms that have adopted AI in the data interpretation level, in the UX level, and then in the agent level. And you see that these products coming out every day now. And we're also there, AI in all those levels.
Then product for content creators.
Yeah, I think. By the way, content creation, like it's the vanilla case for AI, right? You ask it ChatGPT, what demos did they have at the first day? Oh, write me a Twitter campaign, right?
No, this is just something that people think. I think maybe I've told you before, like I've complained so much on the internet and a lot of chats that I've had about the fact that, like, for example, I got my Spotify wrap and I don't know what to do with that information, because, like, I don't, just the fact that you tell me 3 countries, which are like the biggest audiences. I don't know if I told you or I told somebody else that my oldest audience is from the UK and my youngest is from Nigeria. What do I do with this information? Does it mean that the UK has more money and Nigeria they're not? What does it mean? What kind of wallets are these people using? Like which chains and so on. So it's a lot of information I wish I knew. And I keep complaining about it online. Maybe somebody is going to start building a tool for content creators. And then I'm going to be able to actually enjoy data and not just talk about it online.
Look, there is also this. So in content creation, there is a problem still, but I think it will be solved very soon. Where you see synthetic content, you identify it's synthetic, right? You identify it's not so original. You identify maybe a machine wrote it. It's still not something you even there are commercials built by AI videos, and there are also products that give you the way, enable you to create advertisements, video advertisements with AI, to create content with AI, create messaging, and the whole thing, all the ingredients, and we see today that it's still a bit synthetic. So originality and some spark are coming from a human, and then when you have the spark, you have this brief, this new cutting edge idea, and you want to put it into 7 types of content, and you want to make a lot out of it. AI will just accelerate your work with like 10x, building different types of content around this new idea, adding more context, adding more options, and of course more formats. So videos in several formats, and text in several formats, and of course if it's organic or advertisements or influencers, a lot of these, with this human spark, you can drive a lot of processes. And this is where we see AI today. And also in our system, we let the people create the first creatives, and then around them we can say, hey, this is what people are talking about. Let's hone the message around this trending topic, or and definitely get this spark into work with a lot of ease.
But I want to be able to read my data. Like I understand what you mean, and I think that's important, especially because like my parents came to visit like 2 weeks ago, and my dad apparently has TikTok, and I was like, what? Like my dad, he's 70, and then he was scrolling, and he's like, oh my god, look at this cat, or look at this bird. I'm like, didn't you see their AI generated? He's like, no, it's not true. I'm like, yes, it's true. So of course, like this kind of like stuff are very important to understand, like which ones were touched by human, or like, yeah, which ones had human interventions and which one didn't. But at the same time, as I said, I'm gonna keep saying it again, I really want data. I really want to be able to use a tool that like gives me data for, that helps me read the data for my listeners and my anything that I'm interacting with, like I don't know, social media and so on. Because I feel like what Web2 is doing right now, like Spotify and so on, and it's just, it's a mockery. It's a mockery to the work, to the type of work that a lot of these people are putting, including me. So that's all I can say.
Well, I love to use whatever's coming out every month, and we love as a company to put into the product all the new features, from Gemini and from OpenAI, to put them into work, also from Claude, and it's fabulous to see how fast this field is moving. And as a person, I love enjoying those new things, and as a company, we definitely love to play and use the most useful parts in our product.
For sure. What you I know you emphasize on the importance of understanding where customers spend their money. How do you guys help businesses gain these insights?
So the fundamentals of our business are tied to crypto, because only in crypto you can see what people are spending everywhere, like what everybody's spending everywhere, because those are permissionless networks where you can just read everything that happened, all transactions since the beginning of history, and map who's buying what and where in an anonymous way. And this type of information is not very easily accessible if you don't index this by the user. And once you have built this data set to the fullest extent, like we did, you can have an idea who are the users who are buying in the same thing you're selling. So who have spent, let's say you have a game, who have spent money on games in the past week, and you want them as your audience. Now, can we inference? Can we identify this audience, this on-chain audience, in other places? And the answer is yes. We can identify these people, this group of people, can identify them on Twitter, on Reddit, on programmatic display. We can actually get you to send a message to those people in a mass marketing way, and that is a new feature that only blockchain enables. A feature of, hey, let's get out to the world and find those people who actually love what I do. They spend money on what I do, and let them know that I exist. And this method of marketing have always existed in the past 20 years around social networks. So let's find the people who tweet about something, who like something, who talk about something, and target them through keywords and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and so on. But in the crypto world, it's a bit more powerful. Let's say 5x more powerful, because you get to the people who actually spend money, the actual customers of other products. You can say, hey, I want them to know about me. And the nice part about crypto is it's anonymity, it's privacy preserving. You don't have to know who they are. You don't have to know their name. You don't have to sync cookies or exchange emails with other vendors. You really can do this anonymously and get in a mass marketing way, and get to the people that are the most relevant for you according to their crypto activity. And I think that it's not just a limitation. I started with crypto's anonymity as a limitation for businesses. It's not just a limitation that has to be overcome with some technology. It's also an opportunity, and the opportunity is to get to the right people instead of bothering a lot of people with irrelevant ads. We don't like when people advertise to us things that we don't need, and it bothers us. But we do like, or I do personally, like when people let me explore something that I really do want. And it's hard to get this level of accuracy and find it, amusing or entertaining to see some commercial. Um, and it's hard to get to the right people and for the right people to see what you have instead of just irrelevant people.
Do you feel like, for example, people knowing or like companies knowing where their audience is or like where people spend their money or like what they spend money on? Is it something that they use to maybe improve their, I don't know, their sales or their product or their business development strategies and so on? Like, have you seen such kind of impact?
Yes, so I definitely see use cases with our customers that not only want to attract the right audience to their website, application, or protocol or game, they also want to make sure that the people inside get the best experience. And it's called personalization. There are many products in Web2 that help you personalize your game. Or your product according to, or your e-commerce shop according to the preferences of the person coming in. And what we see in crypto, it hasn't been done yet. So the personalization API that we have is actually letting people ask, what type of user is it? What should I put? What should I put first in the website? Should I put specifically this product or that product? What do they do elsewhere? So I can present the best version of our exchange for them. So the personalization is very powerful when you have a big amount of products in your company and a big amount of offerings, and this is where it comes to play.
What do you feel like are some limitations that Web2 has compared to Web3 when it comes to like reading the users' data, let's say, to be able to understand your target audience?
So the Web3
And
world
does
is
everybody, I'm sorry to interrupt you, and does everybody or do the majority of marketers in Web3 take advantage of like what Web3 offers?
so Web3 is an infrastructure, and it's part of our internet experience. And internet is built today from mobile experiences and web experiences and some Web3 experiences, but it's a mix of all those together. And and of course there are more, of course, connected TVs and just home devices and many more. But our major interaction with the internet is through our mobile device, our desktop device, and within them we use the Web 2, we use mobile apps, and we use Web 3. But what you see is just a part of what everybody's doing online. It's not the main thing. Even when people are just trading all day long, they jump from websites to social networks to different products. The on-chain part is just a part of everything else they do. And what we see from marketers in the Web3 space is not only they lack the measurement systems for Web3, they also lack the measurement systems for Web2. Things that are in the gaming world or in e-commerce, people have been using for many, many years. So this excuse of, Web3, it's very hard to know, to measure, to understand, it gives a lot of people an excuse to not measure anything. And with that notion, we come and say, hey, not only we help you understand what's going on in your website, which is completely Web 2. We also help you understand how many people pay for your token or for your product or for your protocol, and how much money you make out of it. And we attribute that to each and every campaign, to each and every source of revenue, to each and every lead source, to each and every country and creative, and so on and so forth. So what you see is that the usage of measurements, once we enable everything, people actually start to measure Web 2. They start to measure their mobile app, but they haven't been doing before.
Do you believe what do you believe to be the biggest barrier? Like, do you think it's like education? And do you think a lot more education in the space with some of these companies would make the transition easier, let's say? Or like make the space less susceptible? What is it? What is it? What is the word? Susceptible?
Yeah. One of the biggest barriers in Web3, not the only one, is UX. People want, so when the internet had begun a lot of time ago, there was no competition. So online, you could pay in some ways that were very, very bulky, and to buy something online in a bookstore like Amazon, you had to go through quite a broken experience at the beginning. Today, you want people to adopt a new way of payment and a new way of investment while they have a wonderful UX in their other options. Going to Robinhood and investing is fun, it's colorful, it's smooth. Going to pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay in any store or online, it's one click. It's very hard for a new technology, for payments or for investments, to imitate that smoothness. It took a long time, many years, to get this to work the way it is today, to get this to be as smooth as it is today. And I think that what we see in crypto is a lot of the adoption is going back to exchanges, for instance, just because of the UX. You want it to be super smooth, like you are already, expecting from any product in your world. And what we see in this UX barrier is that whenever a company cracks the UX barrier, they get a lot of users and they make a lot of money. You can see the Phantom wallet, which is very fun to use and very smooth to discover new things. So it's gaining a lot of traction. You see specifically in Telegram, the Telegram mini apps really growing fast just because it's so easy to get in, to get some money in, to launch a new product. You see a lot of those UX centric projects in mobile apps and even crypto wallets on mobile getting a lot of attention and traction because they are so easy and fun to use. And I think people underestimate the UX barrier for crypto. They think, oh, the passwords and the money and the risk and people really don't want to hold their own money. But I see the UX as the biggest barrier today.
Honestly, I feel like everybody's been complaining about like how bad UX is in Web3, but at the same time, looking at some of the Web2 products that I haven't used that often. So, for example, if you use Bolt or Uber or ordering food and like or Amazon or anything like this, generally have a pretty smooth experience because I think they have like so many users that they cannot like on a daily basis that they cannot afford to like fuck it up. But then you go to platforms like I don't know if you've ever used like Coursera, Spotify. I don't know. I know you guys are good friends with HubSpot, but like I think HubSpot has such a complicated product. It's so hard to I was even trying to set up a calendar. It took me like 45 minutes. Like, why does it take me 45 minutes to set up like a calendar link? And so on. So I feel like a lot of times Web2 has the same issue. It's just nobody talks about it anymore, or like maybe in our bubble, nobody talks about it anymore. But I feel like both worlds have such big issues. Web3 is a bit more complicated, especially if you want to like do move money, bridge, go do this, do that. So like that is very hard. But I think in general, both Web 2 and Web 3 have a lot of issues, and they should definitely fix this, because I feel like at least personally, I feel like I've been sold that Web 2 already fixed all the issues and Web 3 has so much to learn. And then going back to then using some of these things, like you're like, what is going on? This is so bad. We need to
Well,
fix all of it.
yeah, look, it's very common to see new technologies coming up with bulkier UX because you invest in the core business. You want to make sure this core business has enough adoption before you make it perfect in terms of experience. And we see that in Web3 as well as in Web2, the consumer products, not the B2C products that are, maintaining maintaining their growth, are those who have been perfecting this, because consumers are judging most of the products by the how easy is it, how fun is it, and the more easy and fun it is to use, the more people will use it, even if it's more expensive. um, so we see this in the B2C space. And I think that it's natural that the more crypto products that are coming out to mass adoption, the more the better UX we see, the better, the better, also the better obfuscation, or the actual removal of the infrastructure from the front. You don't want to know what infrastructure I'm running on. I don't want to know that when I watch Netflix, it's on AWS, right? I don't want to know that. Even if they have a few movies on GCP, on Google Cloud, and a few movies on AWS, I don't care. I don't care. I just watch a movie on Netflix, right? So the same with a crypto consumer product. You don't care about the money rails. You really want to know it's credible, it's moving your money to wherever you want to pay, and it's actually making it fast and reliable. Um, and and secure. So this is the consumer side. What you also mentioned is the business side. So B2B products tend to be bulkier and less friendly for two reasons. One, the adoption of these products is sometimes done by professionals who are willing to absorb this lack of smoothness or lack of comfort for more featured or more advanced things. And two, because the companies invest less in that when they know it's good enough. And the competition is not fierce enough in some fields, so that they just don't invest more in perfecting the UX. And I think that B2B is a completely different story than B2C. And in B2B, we see different, like you said, B2B Web 2 is different.
Yeah, but I feel like in Web 2, I think people have built companies that are a bit more, they're more towards B2C than B2B, but it's just a wild guess compared to Web 2, where you have a lot more like technologically heavy products, and then they're not consumer facing products. And maybe that's another reason. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
probably
look,
a conversation that can go on and on about this.
eventually it's people. Like, even in the business, there are people who want to use or not use the product. So if it's comfortable enough and easy enough to onboard and to install and to integrate to everything in your organization, it's all about this ease of integration, ease of use, and sometimes less about perfecting. Let's say perfecting the onboarding is much more important in B2B than perfecting the last button in the last screen.
For sure. One of the things that I remember you mentioned the first time I saw you on a panel in 2022, is it 23? No, it was in 2023 actually in ECC, was that I remember you were complaining about the fact that like marketers in Web3 are not ready for Web3 toolings, which I still believe to be the case. I'm very curious, like what's your take on that? And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you support these companies, and I would guess marketers, to adopt and to be able to use like at the best of its capacity a tool like Addressable, and how do you maybe like educate them to or what do you think they should be educated on, let's say, because I feel like a lot of marketers come, when you say marketing, everybody just thinks, like especially my friends who are not in tech, let's say, they're like, oh, but you should be able to, like, marketing is the same. I'm like, no. And I feel like Web3 gets a lot of us to be very data driven or like very growth driven, which is not everybody's case or like background. And I wanted to say, like, what do you guys do when it comes to all all of the above, let's say?
So it's true. What I believe is that the more I said a bit before that the more people are exposed to measurement tools and to the notion of what's like the possibility to measure what's working, what's not working, um, the more they'll be educated or willing to pay for that. The thing is that the money that goes out on marketing in B2C organizations, like most of crypto is B2C. You sell a wallet or a token or a game or something that is or protocol or an investment. Everything is B2C, and an exchange, of course, is B2C. So most of crypto is B2C. So Web3 marketing is B2C marketing to begin with. This is what people talk about when they say Web3 marketing. And in B2C, you want people to you have to pay a lot. So every B2C company, you have to spend like 50% or more on your marketing budget because you have to grow. The users are paying very little, and you have to get to millions of them. And this is why B2C companies are 50% or more in marketing. You see gaming, that's 90% marketing. It's very hard to grow constantly without spending huge amounts on marketing. And when you spend, you start to diversify. You pay KOL. You do your organic thing, and you pay KOLs, you pay PRs, you pay different kinds of advertisements, you pay different types of in crypto, you pay quests and raffles and different types of websites to be featured on, and affiliate marketing and different types of payments. You get all the budget in the world to acquire users. And a lot of times, or historically, crypto was not measuring this in a very accurate way. There was the amount you spend on marketing, the amount you got in as revenue, and you divide the two, and you say, okay, this month I had 1-to-1. So for every dollar I spent, I got the dollar. Or this month I was 2-to-1. So the ratio was the ROAS, or it's the ROI on marketing was very macro level. Now you want to say, hey, I want this in the micro level. In Web 2, you see this analysis in the past 20 years. What is working? Is this KOL delivering? Is that PR delivering? Is this specific campaign on Facebook delivering? And you can measure that if you know how to do performance marketing, which is dependent on two conditions. One, you know how much you pay, and two, you know how much you got. And actually, three, there is a direct link between the two, so you don't lose track. So it's immediate enough for you to connect the marketing activity and the payment activity. Because sometimes it takes, if you want to sell something that the conversion cycle is so long, you will never be able to connect the spend and the revenue. So in crypto, it's possible. People sell things. In B2C, it's possible. You sell things that people buy directly. So they download an exchange, or they download a wallet, or they buy a token, or they buy a game, or they download something and then they pay inside. So there are all the terms for performance marketing. You spend money on marketing in different channels. You get this direct link between the marketing activity and the revenue, and you have the revenue measurable. And what we see in Addressable is that it was very hard to get crypto to understand the power of that and the monetary value. Because if I give you something that costs money, our product, and I tell you, hey, you can save, you pay $2,000 and you save $20,000 per month, you're like, no way. If you didn't experience this before, it's very hard to believe that it is possible. And if you didn't experience that in your previous life as a marketer in a company that measures everything, in a company that measures all of the marketing activities, it's very hard to be convinced that you can save a lot of money by paying some measurement product. And the more you spend on marketing, the more sensitive you are to these mistakes. So if you put $1,000 per influencer per month and you spend on 20 influencers, okay, on KOLs. But if you spend $100,000 per KOL per month, that's you start to get to those numbers that are so big that you have to make it right in terms of in every mistake you do. If someone would have told you this is not working, this is working, you would have saved a lot of money. And this is where measurements are coming from, or attribution. And also inside the advertising systems that we are supporting, also if someone tells you, hey, stop this, or hey, stop spending there, you'll spend less money and you get much more buying power for the same amount of money. You'll get more users, you get more revenue eventually.
So you basically help them with your product, let's say. Did I get that right?
So it's not only our product. A data-driven approach can be done with a lot of things. It's not just our product. Saying I want to measure is something. It's a state of mind. When I spend, I want to measure. And a lot of times in the early crypto space, you spent a lot on KOLs, you spent a lot on PRs. People never measured. And now that companies are more competitive, there's more competition in every field, and companies are more mature. There are more people to do that. They want to measure because they can spend much less on the same amount of users, or they can just buy more users or more revenue with the same amount of marketing spend. And this education, it comes from two ways. There are Web2 marketers that came into Web3, and then you need to explain all the Web3 things, or the unique things in this world. And there are Web3 marketers who were just not measuring, and they're in the same Web3 company, but they just need to start to do some Web2 maneuvers. And it's hard. It's hard to configure all of that. It's hard to measure it right. And it's also hard to take actions fast enough for it to be effective. So this is what we help people do.
And they're also like the Web3 marketers that are 25 and they're on their first job and they need to figure everything out, right?
Well, it's part of the thing. It's part of the thing of getting a Web3 marketer to measure and to put all the practices in place. It's not easy, but once you make it right, you don't understand how did you operate without it.
It's true. What do you think are some trends in Web3 that you're very bullish on, and like how do you make sure that like your clients stay up to date as well?
So I see many trends today. The RWA are going to grow fast this year, I believe. So tokenizing of a lot of things in a way that is credible, that that when you invest in the token, you actually got the real asset. We see a lot of projects for various things, from goods to real estate to diamonds to all sorts of things, and of course bonds and stocks and non-crypto stocks, of course. And we see the RWA market as a huge opportunity for crypto to grow, because it enables everybody everywhere in the world to access very unique markets that are accessible to very few. And the other part is the AI agents, but not the way we see them today. So those AI agents who trade for you are not what I envision. Are not the Twitter ones who talk to you and let you understand what they're going to invest in and let you persuade them to give you their money. But AI agents in for real are those robo investors that will enable you to put some crypto money and say, you invest for me, and you have to sign this, risk uh, um, risk declaration saying, that this is going to maybe lose your money. But these AI agents that invest for you, that work at night when you are asleep, these investment mechanisms will be growing all the time. The AI is improving. People will trust AI to invest their money, their crypto money, without their direct consent for every operation. And I believe this will be very big. And last but not least is the payments. The stablecoin payments are going to get everywhere. We see the adoption now in many places, but it's just going to even this year to get to so many industries that we haven't thought. People bought pizza with Bitcoin. This is a famous story. But today with stablecoin, you really want sometimes to buy pizza and you can't. And and there is going to be a lot of change around payments and the accessibility with crypto stablecoins to any kind of product.
How do you make sure that your clients stay up to date with all
So
this stuff? Is it some of the things that you are already integrated in your product? Is it
yeah, we
you
have
help them in any way?
so the crypto trends or anything that is trending on crypto or anything that is trending with their specific audience is now visible in the product. So you can see exactly what's trending in the past 2 days in specific audiences, whatever your target audience is. And you can see what's trending, what they like, what they do, what they've been trading with. And that's very powerful because you see trends as they emerge. People ask us to even get that to, just what happened in the night while I was asleep. A lot of marketers say, hey, when I want to capture a trend, when it begins, but I have to sleep. So we saw that with the Trump coin, right? So people were asleep and they
I
lost
was
the trend.
sleeping.
So they ask us, hey, can you put the trend in a 6-hour window? What was I missing when I was asleep? And we do that. So we shrink the window from 48 hours to 6 hours. And because people want to know what's really happening now, like in the past few hours, to not miss those things. These are very short-term trends for marketers to capture on, to jump on in the right time. And the long-term trends, you're asking what's how to stay ahead of the curve and not miss a technological turn or something that is going out of market, how to be relevant, and that's a longer cycle, and we capture a lot of these trends in our communication with our customers in different types of course, newsletters, analysis, interpretation of what's happening with people on chain and on social, on Twitter and Reddit.
I do have a couple of questions now for you that we're gonna have to go through quite briefly. What's your vision for Addressable, and what should people expect from it?
So Addressable is a data-driven company. We provide crypto data and social data built together for marketers and for go-to-market organizations. And what we see in the near and the long-term future is that we add more data products. So people want personalization. We're working on it. This is what you mentioned earlier. People want to filter some of the fraud cases that are coming to their marketing, or the airdrop farmers that are coming to their airdrops, or the incentive chasers, the snipers that just want specific incentives and don't want to give value. So we'll add to the marketing, to the advertisements, to the attribution, to the different types of go-to-market things. We'll add a lot of a suite of products that actually marketers are asking from us in the past year, and we're actually developing these sort of data products into the system that we already have.
I say like I think this is such a cool thing, and this is something you're quite bullish on. I'm quite bullish on, but like, do you have an unpopular opinion in Web3?
Yes, I think that Web3 is just a tool in the online toolbox. We as founders, we didn't see Web3 as a revolution of the entire internet like some people see. We do believe it's an essential part of the internet today, will become the money rails for the internet, but it's just a part of everything else we do online and all the other technologies we see online. So what I believe is that this part of the internet will be dramatically critical for a lot of use cases, but it will not be the only use case. And some generations will not use Web3, and some types of people will not use Web3, and that's okay. I do believe that the part of Web3 inside this entire online ecosystem will grow and grow, but will never substitute the entire thing, but will just add up another infrastructure to the toolbox we all have online.
Fair. Do you have a resource you would like to suggest to the audience today? Is it like a newsletter, a book, or anything that you might find useful or educational?
Yeah, so I have a wonderful book I want to recommend. It's called Chaos Monkeys. It's our partner, Antonio, that has written that 10 years ago, and while he was working in Facebook. And Chaos Monkeys is one of my favorite books about the tech era, about the culture in tech companies, and I just love it.
I'll definitely look it up as well. Last question of today is like, where can people find you?
So I'm available on Twitter, very accessible. I'm available on LinkedIn, and my email is always open for communication. It's Sharoni@addressable.io.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. It's been a pleasure. I feel like I've learned a lot of stuff, new stuff, and a bit of a different perspective from somebody from Addressable. Because I feel like every time I talk to you guys, it's always something new and exciting. So yeah, I want to thank you for being with me today. I hope to see you in Denver, and yeah, looking forward to maybe having you some other time on the pod with like updated stuff or like campaigns we can talk about.
Thank you, Alex. It's been a great pleasure to be here with you, and looking forward to meet face to face in Denver.
Yeah, it's true. See you.
See you.
Thank you so much for listening to our Out of Ordinary podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to hear more content like this, then open up the podcast app and click on the follow or subscribe button. It takes less than 5 seconds and is the single best thing you can do to support the show and stay up to date to more marketing strategies that are being used in the Web3 space.